Hi, this is Amon Tobin. You're watching Beatport News. My own music it's more about exploring sound and exploring what's possible with sound, and trying to find out about music as well, trying to learn about music and sound and why it does, why it works the way it does. And it is that curiosity about things that tends to drive me and motivate me. It was like a solution to a problem, really, and that's how I'll approach the next thing as well. It wasn't like I sat down and thought, oh, how can I make the biggest spectacle I can make? It was more that I had a record that couldn't be performed by musicians, and it wasn't a DJ orientated record, so I couldn't really take it out to clubs and do it like that either. I couldn't have done it with, as a DJ set, so I had to think of a different way to do it. I guess I've split myself into two things. It's Two Fingers being a very sort of just about beat making and bass music and much more to do with DJing and all of that. And then there's my own stuff, which is, I guess, more like a sort of weird art project that I've been working on for 15 years. Two Fingers is a vent, so what happens is I'll get really involved in some, mad sound design idea, and I'll lock into that for ages and ages, and then I'll need a break from it. And then I'll just make a Two Fingers track in like an afternoon, and it will just get all that sort of surplus energy out. And then I'll go back to doing, my noodly experimental stuff. So there'll always be Two Fingers tracks because I just sort of need to do them. I've got a couple of things that I use all the time, and one of them's this Continuum fingerboard. It's like a keyboard, but it's a continuous controller, and it's a soft controller. So you have, unlike a keyboard, you can map it so that you have different things happening in terms of timbre or filters or anything, depending on how much pressure you apply, how far up the y-axis you go, as well as, of course, along the keyboard.
Nothing essential happens in the absence of noise. Nothing essential happens in the absence of noise. Essential happens in the absence of noise. Nothing essential happens in the noise.
So a lot of the sounds I'll make will be sort of hybrids of different things that I'll go out and I'll record the different elements of. So maybe just some leaves or something, for the high part of a sound, and the middle part of the sound will be something else, maybe a synthesizer or some cutlery or something, and then as I go further down I'll try and get some bass tones, and in the end they'll all sort of morph as I play them, because you can play with the the sort of like bending a string or whatever. At the end of the day, it's all just tools, and it's what you do with them. But I wouldn't ever say that, you need this to sound good, or you need that, to make a good tune. Or I really firmly believe that music comes from people, and people will make amazing stuff out of nothing. I don't know, I've got maybe a different perspective on all of that, because I don't really see it as a business, and if you're talking about being successful, I wouldn't know where to start with that, because maybe that's a good starting point, is not to have that as your premise, because if you want to be successful, maybe music isn't really the right thing to do to begin with, but if you want to do something you really care about and you really do believe in, then my advice would be just don't listen to any advice, really. just do exactly what you want to do and keep doing it despite what everybody tells you. And it might be successful or it might not, but at least you'll have done something that you're proud of. Making music for me is really, really special. It's something that I really, really care about. I try not to corrupt it with thoughts of how can I make it more palatable, you know, how can I make it more like a business. And I feel quite frustrated actually when I hear, you know, people talking about it in those terms, because it becomes entertainment really, and entertainment depends on the approval of other people. It's very different from doing something, let's say, a real labour of love, which may or may not be accepted by people. And that's what this is to me, it's a labour of love.